Alright, hey everybody. Today we are going to be doing some gameplay analysis. This isn't something that I do very often, but I really wanted to point out how I kind of counter Wild Sense in Sparking Zero and why it's actually kind of beneficial if your opponent is spamming it, because it's very predictable, very easy to counter, and very easy to get some nice plays off of. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first match we got here is against a Beast Gohan, character who very famously has Wild Sense, or in this case Beast Sense. The only difference giving him an extra little bit of bonus damage after using it. Now, I'm kind of sussing out my opponent here. You can see me just doing my basic combo rotation with my combo reset, figuring out, okay, is he good at super counters, is he good at vanishes, does he use revenge counters, just that kind of stuff. Now you can see here, I'm watching his skill gauge. It's at 4. It's very important to watch skill gauges when trying to figure out if your opponent is using Wild Sense. So it's at 5 now. About to go up to 6. It's at 6. And you can see right there, he very obviously activates it. He starts charging his ki, stands still, and immediately starts attacking again. So he wasn't trying to charge ki, he was trying to activate his Wild Sense. You can see I'm getting hit a little bit, but I noticed he activated his Wild Sense again. So that means that all I have to do is start a rush chain and then vanish him immediately after, like I do right here. And I get a free combo off of that. That's why Wild Sense is so good to be playing against, because if they're spamming it, they don't know how to fight it. Did it again right there while I was messing up my combo. He uses Wild Sense, gives me another opportunity to just counter it. Going back into my typical standard combo, charging a bit of ki. And I knew he was going to activate his revenge counter there because he was facing towards me, and he kind of needed to get out of that combo. That was a really good activation of Wild Sense there, using it in between my combos when I'm charging up a semi-heavy attack. So that's where you want to use Wild Sense, to catch your opponent off guard, not to use it very obviously as a way to kind of cover your butt, because then, you know, your opponent is just gonna move around it like I do. Alright, going into our next match right here, we're going up against a Frieza. Now, this Frieza is Super Frieza, so Super base form Frieza doesn't actually have Wild Sense, but his golden form does. So, when he powers up to golden form later in this match, you're going to see me being very observant of his skill points, and he's going to be using Wild Sense quite a bit. Right now, again, I'm just trying to figure out what his playstyle is like, how he is at super counters, and I figured out that he's decent at super counters, not as bad as the last Beast Gohan. So, now that he's golden, you notice that he had 4 skill points, and it only takes 2 to go up to golden, and he's back at 0. So that means that he has to have used his Wild Sense, so I'm going to be very wary about that when I'm pushing up to him right now. So you can see, when I'm finally out of his combo, and I push up to him and I attack him, I'm vanishing already to try and avoid his Wild Sense. I'm going to use my Masenko here, and notice how it takes him back up to 2 skill points. He's going to go right back down to 0. Now importantly here, his super attack actually hits me, but after a super attack, you can revenge counter them for a short period of time, and it won't activate their Wild Sense. But immediately after, it did activate his Wild Sense, so when I started my combo chain after I revenge countered, I had to vanish in order to bypass his Wild Sense. And I'll play that back slowly just so you can see what I meant. Alright. Last match we're going to cover is against a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, a character that very famously has Wild Sense, and a lot of players are known to use it. So, once again, just figuring out my combos before he has a chance to use his Wild Sense, seeing what he can counter, seeing what he can't. So you can see that I actually lose the Vanish War, or sorry, I win the Vanish War, but then I lose the second part of it. And after he slams me down, he very obviously activates Wild Sense. He charges up his ki for a split second before going into an attack. You can see his skill gauge drops by 2 points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up my ki right now, and then when I rush into him, I'm going to vanish as soon as I start attacking him. This is going to give me a free combo on him. And now I notice that once again, he knocks me away, but he has more than 2 skill points, and he goes back down below 2 skill points, so he had to have activated Wild Sense. Vanish it again, get a free combo. It's such an easy rhythm to it once you get a feel for it. And going for my combo reset. Unfortunately, my Ki Blast missed, and he again very obviously activates Wild Sense there. That's the problem with these players. Once you figure them out, you can tell exactly when they activate Wild Sense by just looking at their skill gauge. And I'm gonna do something kind of funny here, so I'm gonna ping pong him a little bit, and then I'm gonna notice that he's going to activate Wild Sense right there. Now, what a lot of orb supers will do, so stuff like Super Explosive Wave, is they'll make your opponent automatically vanish because of their Wild Sense, but then they can't vanish again after that. So you essentially get a free Super Explosive Wave damage on them, which is really nice for countering Wild Sense. And that's pretty much it for this video. I'll be covering some more concepts like combo resets and how my combos work in some later videos, so hopefully those will be coming out in maybe a week and a half. I'll keep you guys posted on the notifications section of my channel. Thanks for watching.